All right, welcome back to America's Voice Live. Good to have you here on a Monday. I appreciate your support. The Tyre Nichols video has launched another firestorm of criticism of police all over this nation. And honestly, looking at the video, which you can see on your screen now, look, it's a tough video. And we're not even showing you the worst parts of it. The police response seems to be way over the top. But now we know that the left is still saying this is an act of racism and the policing in general is racist, despite the fact that it was 5 black police officers, is this, isn't it? Maybe a 6th one now. So with me now to break down the important numbers on policing, the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, Dr. John Lott. John, nice to see you.
Great to talk to you again. Thanks for having me on.
There is this popular narrative on the left that black citizens in America are far more likely to die at the hands of police, that police target black suspects, that they are victims of crimes like we saw here in Memphis. But the numbers don't always bear that out, do they?
No, I mean, you have about 1,000 police shootings each year where somebody is killed. Whites are killed by about twice the rate that blacks are killed by police. But, you know, virtually everybody who is shot by a police officer is armed. You know, you look at the number of blacks who are killed each year that are unarmed is about 24 on average. But even that is kind of misleading because many of those people were actually involved in some type of violent crime when they were shot. So they may have been attacking somebody, and the police officer may have thought it was necessary to go and save somebody's life, to go and shoot them at that moment. So, you know, it's when you're talking about somebody who's armed or you're talking about somebody who's in the process of doing real bodily harm to somebody else, you know, it's hard to think of why that isn't justified by police. That doesn't mean you don't have extreme cases from time to time when police officers do something wrong, but you know, that's a lot rarer than I think people seem to realize. One of the things that we found in our own research is that when a black officer, when a white officer kills a black suspect, the race of both the officer and the suspect's mentioned in the news media. When a black officer kills a white suspect, the race of neither seems to be mentioned. When a black kills another black, only the race of the suspect is mentioned, not the race of the officer being black, is mentioned in the news media. And I think that creates the impression in many people's minds that even when they don't hear the race of the officer or the suspect being mentioned, since whenever they do hear it's a white officer killing a black suspect, kind of people fill in the blanks there.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing. When you talk about unarmed individuals being shot and killed in America, it happens to white suspects, it happens to Hispanic suspects, it happens to black suspects. Mistakes are made, but like you said, oftentimes it's not a mistake because there's another set of circumstances involved with the confrontation that leads to this. There are extreme cases. We understand that. But to just go ring the racist bell every single time, it's racism, it's racism. I find that to be a lazy approach, don't you?
I mean, we've seen the claim of racism over and over again in Baltimore when the one individual was killed there in the police van. The officers involved were black, the prosecutor is black, the judge is black, the people who are running the police department are black, the mayor and city council are overwhelmingly black. You know, you have a similar type of situation here in Memphis. So it's not really obvious where racism enters in. I keep hearing statements that, well, you know, black officials, black officers can be racist, you know, essentially white racists, essentially. It kind of reminds me of the attacks on my friend Larry Elder when he was running for governor of California, where he was being, you know, he was the black face of white racism. So, you know, the term just becomes meaningless at some point. It's lazy might, as you say, might be one way of phrasing it, but
Well, it's just the easy go-to. It's, well, if you don't have a better argument, just call them racist, smear them, and that way you can shut down their argument. You hopefully get them scared of getting their reputation ruined, so they shut down. I don't buy into that point of view. I'm not going to be tarred and feathered as a racist. I won't allow it. I'll speak up and tell the truth, whether they like it or not. I think more people should do that, but it's dangerous for this country. First of all, for any of this to happen, the media has to do its job well on cases like this. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't publish things that are, short on any facts. Do your job, do it well, so the facts are presented fairly and honestly. That's probably a critical component that nobody really talks about. What do you say?
I mean, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I think the media is very biased in many different ways. We recently did a peer-reviewed study that looked at police shootings. And what we found was that black officers shot black suspects at essentially the same rate that white officers shot black suspects. So at least that's some indication that there's no racism involved there on the part of the officers. But
not as much as we're told, anyway. Yeah, not as much we're told. And John, I'm sorry, I got to jump in. And we got to stop there, but there is a lot to discuss. In this case, it will continue, and the poor behavior by the press and by those pointing fingers will also continue. Sadly, I believe. John, thank you.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it.